To my new subscribers, welcome. To my regulars, welcome back. The following is for entertainment purposes only.
It sits in your hallway, or perhaps under your stairs. A small, white plastic box with a glowing digital screen. For millions of British homeowners, it was sold as a device that would save the planet and save their wallet. The energy companies called you, they texted you, they emailed you, they told you that upgrading to a smart meter was essential. They said it would put an end to estimated bills. They said it would help you track your usage and lower your costs. So you agreed. You let the engineer in. He swapped your old, reliable analog meter for this new digital computer. And for a few months, everything seemed fine. But then, the winter came. You walked past the device one evening, and instead of a calm green light, the screen was glowing an angry red. You looked at the Cost Now display. It wasn't pennies. It was pounds. You checked your bank account. Your direct debit had jumped from £150 to £400. You called the energy company, assuming it was a mistake. But they told you it was accurate. They told you that you agreed to a time of use tariff. They told you that because you cooked dinner at 6 p.m. during peak demand, you were now paying triple the rate for your electricity. You realised then that you hadn't installed a money-saving device. You had installed a spy in your own home that punishes you for living a normal life. This is the smart meter trap, and in 2026, it is closing in on every household in the United Kingdom. While the government pushes for net zero and grid flexibility, ordinary families are being used as guinea pigs in a massive financial experiment. We are seeing reports of smart meters glitching and showing bills of £40,000. We are seeing energy companies using these devices to remotely switch customers to prepayment mode, effectively cutting off their heating without ever stepping foot on the property. And most terrifying of all, we are entering the era of surge pricing, where the cost of boiling a kettle depends on when the wind is blowing and when your neighbours are watching TV. In this video, I am going to expose the dark side of the smart meter rollout. I am going to explain exactly how these devices work, how the energy companies are using your data to maximise their profits, and why the promise of cheaper bills was a lie from the start. I will break down the surge pricing model that is about to become the new normal, and why your stubborn refusal to install one might be the smartest financial move you ever make. You need to watch this video until the very last second. Do not click away, because in the final section, I am going to reveal the refusal strategy. Millions of people think smart meters are mandatory. They think they have to say yes. They are wrong. I will explain your legal rights to refuse and exactly what to say to the bullying call centre agent to get them off your back. I will also explain the dumb mode, loophole, how to keep your smart meter but stop it from sending your personal data to the energy giants. If you pay an electric or gas bill in the UK, this information is not just interesting, it is the difference between a manageable bill and financial ruin. Let's get into it. To understand why this is happening, we have to look at the motivation. Why are British Gas, E.ON, OVO and Octopus so desperate to get this device into your house? They tell you it's for efficiency. They say it saves them sending a meter reader out. That is true, but it is a tiny part of the story. The real reason is data. Your old analog meter was dumb. It only knew how much electricity you used in total. It didn't know when you used it. It didn't know if you were washing your clothes at 2 a.m. or 6 p.m. The smart meter knows everything. It records your usage in 30-minute intervals. In some cases, if you opt in, it records it every 10 seconds. This data is gold. It allows energy companies to build a perfect profile of your life. They know when you wake up. They know when you go to bed. They know when you are on holiday. And most importantly, they know when you are desperate for power. This leads us to the concept of dynamic pricing, or surge pricing. You might know this from Uber. When it rains, or when everyone leaves a concert at the same time, the price of a taxi triples. The energy grid is moving to the same model. The national grid is struggling. As we shut down coal power stations and rely more on wind and solar, the supply of electricity is becoming volatile. When the wind stops blowing, supply drops. But demand stays high because everyone comes home from work at 5:30 p.m, turns on the oven, plugs in the EV, and puts the heating on. This creates a peak demand crisis. In the old days, we would just burn more gas to meet the demand. In 2026, the government wants to manage demand. That is a polite way of saying they want to force you to use less energy when it is expensive. How do they do that? Price signals. If you have a smart meter, the energy company can introduce a tariff where electricity costs 10 pence per kilowatt hour at 3 a.m, but £1 per kilowatt hour at 6 p.m. They sell this as a benefit. They say, look, you can get cheap electricity at night. But let's be real. Who is cooking dinner for their children at 3 a.m? Who is vacuuming the house at 4 a.m? Most normal working families, and especially the elderly, operate on a routine. You need heat and light in the evening. Under a surge pricing model, you are penalised for having a normal biological rhythm. You are fined for being awake when everyone else is awake. We have already seen demand flexibility services where you get paid pennies to sit in the dark. That was the carrot. Now comes the stick. The stick is high peak tariffs, and without a smart meter, they can't enforce this. That is why they need the device in your home. Once it is there, you are part of the matrix. You are subject to the algorithm. But it gets darker. Let's talk about the remote switch. This is a scandal that broke in the media recently, but people have already forgotten. In the past, if you couldn't pay your bill, the energy company had to go to court. They had to get a warrant. They had to send bailiffs to your house to install a prepayment meter. It was a long, difficult legal process that gave you time to find help. With a smart meter, that protection is gone. The energy company can sit in a call centre hundreds of miles away, press a button, and switch your meter from credit to prepayment. Suddenly, your power goes off. You have to top up via an app or go to a shop to buy credit, just to keep the lights on. If you don't have the money, you freeze. This has happened to vulnerable people. It has happened to single mothers. It has happened to pensioners. They wake up to a cold house because a computer algorithm decided they were a credit risk. This self-disconnection is a humanitarian crisis waiting to happen, and the smart meter is the weapon that makes it possible. And then there are the glitches. The technology is far from perfect. We have seen horror stories in the press. A lady in Derbyshire received a bill for £40,000 because her smart meter developed a fault and started reading usage that wasn't happening. Another family was charged for using electricity while they were away on holiday, with the main fuse turned off. The problem is, when you dispute a smart meter reading, the energy company says, the computer cannot be wrong. It becomes your word against the machine. You have to pay the bill or face debt collectors, while you spend months fighting to prove that you didn't run a commercial aluminium smelter in your spare bedroom. The older generation of smart meters, SMETS 1, famously stopped working if you switched suppliers. They went dumb. The newer ones, SMETS 2, are supposed to be better, but they rely on mobiles, phone networks. If you live in an area with bad signal, or if the hub in your house loses connection with the wide area network, your in-home display stops working. You stop seeing your usage, but the meter might still be estimating your bills. You end up with catch-up bills 6 months later, demanding thousands of pounds because the estimates were too low. There is also the issue of in-home interference. These devices create a home area network, HAN, using Zigbee frequencies. There are reports of them interfering with Wi-Fi, with baby monitors, and even with some medical devices. While the industry denies this is a widespread problem, many homeowners report headaches and connectivity issues after installation. But the biggest headache is the financial one. Let's look at the standing charge. Even if you use zero electricity, let's say you turn off everything and go live in a tent, you still pay a daily fee just to be connected to the grid. Smart meters haven't reduce this. In fact, the cost of the smart meter rollout, which is billions of pounds over budget, is being added to your bill. You are paying for the device that is being used to charge you more. It is a perverse cycle. The marketing calls are aggressive. They tell you your meter is expiring or it is a legal requirement. They use fear tactics. They make you feel like you are breaking the law by saying no. I have heard recordings of agents telling elderly people that their power might be cut off if they don't upgrade. This is a lie. A flat-out lie. But it works. It scares people into compliance. In the next part of this video, I am going to arm you with the truth. I am going to explain the right to refuse. Unless your old meter is dangerous and literally falling off the wall, you do not have to accept a smart meter. I will give you the exact script to use when they call. I will also explain what to do if you already have one and you regret it. Can you have it removed? Contez. You ask for it to be put in dumb mode? The answers might surprise you. And finally, I will warn you about the next phase, the Internet of Things integration, where the energy company might try to turn off your fridge or your EV charger remotely. We exposed how smart meters enable surge pricing and remote disconnection. But now, we need to talk about your defense. The single most common question I get asked is, can I legally refuse a smart meter? The answer, despite what the aggressive salesperson on the phone tells you, is yes. The rollout is government-backed, and energy suppliers have targets to hit. They get fined if they don't install enough of them. But for you, the consumer, it is completely optional. There are only two specific scenarios where you cannot refuse. 1. If your existing analog meter is technically unsafe, I don't mean old, I mean dangerous, like sparking or leaking. 2. If you are in significant debt and the supplier has obtained a court warrant to install a prepayment meter to recover that debt. Unless you fall into those two extreme categories, you have the absolute right to say no. Here is the script you need to use. When they call you and say, "We are in your area upgrading meters," you say, "I am exercising my right to refuse the installation of a smart meter. Please remove me from your marketing list for this rollout." If they say, "But your meter certification is expiring," you say, "That is fine." When it legally expires and fails a safety test, you can replace it with a non-smart digital meter. Until then, I do not consent to a smart meter. They might tell you that non-smart meters don't exist anymore. This is a half-truth. They do exist, but suppliers hate stocking them because they are dumb. They want the data. If you push hard enough, they will often leave you alone because you are too much hassle. They prefer the low-hanging fruit, the people who say yes immediately. But what if you already have one? Maybe you moved into a new build, or maybe you accepted one before watching this video. Are you doomed to pay surge prices? Not necessarily. You have a secret weapon called data frequency settings. By default, many suppliers set your meter to read usage every 30 minutes. This is the high-resolution data they need for surge pricing. However, under GDPR and Ofgem rules, you have the right to restrict this. You can demand that your meter only sends a reading once a month. If you switch your meter to monthly mode or daily mode, you break the chain. They cannot charge you a time of use tariff if they don't know what time you used the energy. They can't charge you triple at 6 p.m. if they only know that you used 10 kilowatts in the entire day. You effectively turn your smart meter into a dumb meter. It still sends the bill so you don't have to scramble under the stairs with a torch, but it stops the surveillance. Call your supplier today. Ask them specifically, "What is my data? Collection frequency?" If it is half-hourly, tell them, "I do not consent to half-hourly collection. Please change it to monthly collection immediately." They have to comply. Now, let's talk about removal. This is the battleground. Thousands of people regret getting these devices and want them gone. Can you demand they remove it? Sadly, it is very difficult. Energy companies will almost always refuse to downgrade you back to an analog meter. They will say it is backward tech. However, if the smart meter is causing proven health issues, which is hard to prove, or if it is technically faulty, glitching, losing signal, you can insist on a replacement. The trick is, they might replace it with another smart meter. The only way to get a dumb meter back is often to pay a significant fee, sometimes hundreds of pounds, to a private electrician or to the supplier to perform a downgrade. And many suppliers simply have a policy against it. Your best bet is the data frequency strategy I just mentioned. It neutralizes the threat without removing the box. We need to look at the Trojan horse aspect of this. Why is the government pushing this so hard? It's not just about billing. It's about the Internet of Things, IoT. The vision for 2030 is a fully connected grid where your smart meter talks to your smart fridge, your smart washing machine, and your electric vehicle charger. They call this demand-side response. It sounds fancy. What it actually means is remote control. Imagine this. It is 2028. The wind isn't blowing. The grid is struggling. The national grid sends a signal to your energy supplier. Your energy supplier sends a signal to your smart meter. Your smart meter sends a signal to your EV charger and your heat pump. Suddenly, your car stops charging. Your heating turns off. You didn't touch anything. The system decided you don't need energy right now. You are cold, and your car won't be full for the morning commute, all because an algorithm decided to balance the load. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is stated government policy for grid flexibility. They need the smart meter to be the hub that controls your home. If you keep your dumb meter, you are physically disconnected from this control grid. You are the captain of your own ship. You decide when the heating goes on, not a bureaucrat in Whitehall. There is also the security risk. We are putting a computer connected to the internet into the heart of our home's electrical system. What happens if it gets hacked? Cyber warfare experts have warned that the smart grid is a prime target. A hacker could potentially switch off the power to 1 million homes simultaneously, causing chaos. Or they could hack the billing system and bankrupt thousands of people overnight. By keeping an analog meter, you are air-gapped. You are immune to a cyber attack on the meter network because your meter is a mechanical set of cogs and dials. It cannot be hacked, cannot be switched off remotely. It is robust, secure technology. Let's address the price cap lie. We were told smart meters would lower bills, but the cost of the rollout is billions of pounds over budget. Who pays for that? We do. It is added to the network costs part of your standing charge. So, even if you refuse the meter, you are paying for your neighbour's installation. This is infuriating, I know, but do not let it bully you into accepting one. The long-term cost of surge pricing will dwarf the pennies you might save by seeing that you spent 50 pence boiling the kettle. If you are renting, this is tricky. The account holder makes the decision. If you pay the bill directly to the supplier, you decide. The landlord cannot force you to install a smart meter unless it is written explicitly in your tenancy agreement, which is rare. However, if the landlord pays the bills, they can install one without your permission. If you are a landlord watching this, think twice. Installing a smart meter might annoy your tenants if it switches to prepayment mode or causes interference. Let's summarize your smart meter survival guide for 2026. Refuse. If you don't have one, keep saying no. Be polite but firm. I do not consent. Restrict. If you have one, call your supplier and switch data collection to monthly. Opt out of all marketing for time of use tariffs. Read. Check your bills religiously. Smart meters glitch. If your usage jumps without reason, dispute it immediately. Do not trust the screen. Trust your own math. Resist. Do not connect your other appliances, washing machines, etc. to the smart meter network if you can avoid it. Keep your devices dumb to maintain control. The energy companies want you to be a passive consumer, a data point on a graph that they can milk for profit. By refusing the smart meter, or by neutralizing its spying capabilities, you remain an active customer. You keep your privacy. You keep your control. And most importantly, you protect yourself from the volatility of a grid that is becoming increasingly unstable and expensive. I want to know your experience. Do you have a smart meter horror story? Did your bill skyrocket after installation? Or did you successfully fight off the installation team? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one, and your story helps warn others. If this video opened your eyes to the reality behind the flashing green light, please hit that like button. It helps the channel grow and defeat the algorithm, and make sure you are subscribed. In my next video, I am going to expose the fleecehold scandal, why millions of homeowners are paying thousands of pounds a year to private companies just to cut the grass on their own estates. It is the biggest property scam of the decade, and you need to know if your house is affected. Until then, keep your meter dumb, keep your bills low, and I will see you in the next one.
There's a frequency that governs this universe, a vibration that shapes every experience you've ever had. Most people stumble through life never realizing they are transmitters, walking antennas, broadcasting signals into a living, intelligent field. And the field? It doesn't respond to your words. It doesn't respond to your begging. It responds to your vibration. Every thought you think, every emotion you dwell on, is a command. And the world, the people, the circumstances, the luck you think just happens, is only echoing back what you broadcast. But here's the shocking part. Most people are tuned to the wrong station. They say they want abundance, but they live in the frequency of lack. They say they want love, but they vibrate with fear and loneliness. They say they want peace, but they carry chaos inside. And then they wonder why life feels like it's pushing against them. But the truth, life is never pushing against you. It's mirroring you. You're not chasing things, you're attracting them by the signal you emit. And once you learn to shift that signal, once you know how to enter the frequency that makes you magnetic, everything begins to move toward you. Money, opportunities, people, healing, all of it. In this teaching, I'm going to show you how to do that, step by step. So stay with me till the end, because by the time you finish this video, you'll never look at reality the same way again. Let's begin. Everything in existence, from galaxies to thoughts, vibrates. This isn't spirituality. It's physics. Your body vibrates. Your emotions vibrate. Even your beliefs carry a measurable frequency. Fear, shame, guilt, they sit at the bottom of the scale. They constrict your energy. They cut you off from flow. But love, gratitude, joy, peace, they vibrate higher. They expand your field. They open doors you didn't even know existed. And that's the secret nobody told you. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So the question isn't, how do I get what I want? It's, how do I become the version of me that naturally attracts it? You don't chase, you align. You don't force, you tune in. Think of it like a radio. You can't hear 97.5 FM while you're tuned to 88.3. The music is already playing. You just can't hear it until you're on the right frequency. Abundance, peace, success. They're already broadcasting. They already exist. The only question is, are you tuned in? Step 1. There is a stillness you need to enter before anything moves in your life, before any shift, any manifestation, any miracle. There's a stillness you must enter. And this isn't ordinary silence. It's not just sitting quietly or turning off the noise. It's a sacred state, a doorway. You see, the universe doesn't respond to chaos. It doesn't speak the language of panic or hurry. It only answers resonance. And resonance requires calm. When your mind is racing, you're tuned to the wrong station. You can't hear divine instruction when you're drowning in noise. So the first step is stillness. Not because silence itself is powerful, but because you are powerful when you're silent. In stillness, your thoughts begin to slow, your breathing deepens, your awareness expands, and suddenly you start to feel something that was always there. A quiet current beneath everything. That current is the field. It's the invisible ocean that responds to every pulse of your consciousness. And when you enter stillness, you start to move with it instead of against it. Because in that stillness, you stop identifying with the noise of the world. And you remember what you truly are, the creator of your reality. So when you begin this practice, don't rush to visualize, don't rush to affirm. First, tune in, sit down, close your eyes, let the day dissolve. Feel the body relax but keep your awareness awake. You'll notice thoughts come and go. Let them. Don't chase them, don't fight them, just breathe. Soon, something subtle will happen. The gap between your thoughts will widen. And in that gap, you'll feel it. That deep, sacred calm, that hum beneath reality. That's the stillness I'm talking about. That's where power lives. That's where imagination becomes law. That's where the universe starts listening. Not to your words, but to your being. And once you can enter that stillness at will, you'll never again chase what's already waiting for you. You'll simply align and receive. Step 2. Feel the frequency of what you want. Now that you've entered stillness, you've stepped into the control room of creation. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think manifestation is about asking. It's not. It's about feeling. The universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you are. And what you are is what you feel most often. You see, everything you desire already exists. It's not waiting to be created. It's waiting to be matched. And the only way to match it is to feel its frequency. So what is that thing for you? Is it peace? Is it love? Is it wealth? Is it freedom? Whatever it is, stop seeing it as out there. It's not ahead of you. It's here, now, vibrating in a different frequency. And when you feel as though it's already yours, you tune yourself to it. You lock in. You merge timelines. In that stillness, you entered. I want you to bring the scene into your mind. The scene that would exist if it were already done. Don't ask for it. Don't chase it. Step into it. See it. Smell it. Hear it. Touch it. Let your senses surrender to the experience. And here's the key. Feel the emotion of it being real right now. Not someday. Now. Feel the calm certainty of the person who already has it. Feel how your shoulders relax. Feel the peace in your chest. That soft smile. That gratitude. Hold it. Let it sink into your nervous system. Because once the body believes, the field follows. This is the language of creation, emotion in motion. When you feel abundance, you broadcast abundance. When you feel love, you summon love. When you feel peace, chaos has to dissolve because it no longer matches your signal. This isn't fantasy. This is resonance. And resonance is the law. So tonight, when you enter stillness again, don't ask for the thing. Be the thing. Don't pray for change. Feel the change. Don't hope for alignment. Step into it. Because the moment your frequency changes, everything in your outer world begins to rearrange to reflect who you've become. That's how you turn energy into experience. That's how you move from wishing to knowing. That's how you become magnetic. Step 3. Persist in the frequency. Here's where most people lose it. They do the work once, then go right back to worrying, doubting, complaining. But listen closely. Every time you step out of alignment, you break the signal. So you must persist in the new frequency. Carry that feeling through your day. Walk as though it's already yours. Speak from it. Decide from it. Live from it. You don't do this for 5 minutes in meditation. You become it, because once you live from that energy long enough, the outer world has to conform. It has no choice. That's law. Step 4. Release and allow. Once you've aligned and felt it as done, let it go. Don't keep checking if it's working. That's doubt. And doubt resets your signal. Instead, rest. Trust the field. Trust the process. You've planted the seed. Now let the soil do its work. The field is intelligent. It knows how to move people, events, and circumstances into perfect order. All you need to do is stay aligned, stay grateful, stay open. And when it comes, because it will, receive it with reverence, not surprise, because you didn't get lucky. You tuned in. This is the moment you'll start to notice something strange. People will say things like, "Why are things suddenly working out for you? How did that opportunity fall into your lap?" And you'll just smile. Because you'll know. It's not magic. It's frequency. It's law. You didn't chase anything. You aligned with it. You stopped begging life to change, and you started broadcasting the energy of already having it. And that energy, that state, is magnetic. It pulls everything you desire toward you, without effort. Now, if this message stirred something inside you, that's not random. That's resonance. It means you're ready to shift frequencies. So here's what I want you to do. Before you scroll, take a moment, close your eyes, and say this with me. I am abundance. Type that in the comments right now so the energy anchors deeper. Let your declaration be seen, not for me, but as a signal to the universe that you're ready.
The materialist, reductionist view of the world has dominated Western thinking and academia. Man has been reduced to the level of a machine whose existence is due to a mere fluke, the result of random cosmic circumstances like the Big Bang and evolution. This nihilism has tricked us into believing human existence is at best a random, meaningless miracle, hiding the truth that the world we see is a simulation determined by our own consciousness. This realm called Earth is a holographic reflection of what is within us. There is a mirroring effect of our own consciousness, and the stimuli we experience in the world is a fractal reflection system. We are microcosms of the macrocosm. Everything is encapsulated as a holographic projection, and all energy is connected by a unified quantum field. Through this electric quantum field, this matrix grid, we are all connected as essentially one being divided into individual portions of consciousness within the mind of the Creator. This Creator, what some call God, is not a force outside of us, but literally is the sum of our consciousness. When our spirits became flesh, we became the earthly fractal structure down here, which mirrors the divinity above. The Christian Lord's Prayer states, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." This has a deep meaning. It is not just a prayer for humans to perform. This reveals the profound revelation of the fractal divinity of Source to be manifested in full glory here on this earthly plane. This will is love. Unfortunately, a virus has infiltrated this simulation. The energy extraction matrix is the parasitic system set up by this virus within this holographic reality. The virus is inorganic and aims to drown out this heavenly will of divine love, and instead instill and feed upon as much negativity as possible. There are two main parasites on this plane: mind parasites, also known as archons or demons, and reptilian humanoids. The spiritual control system of the energy extraction matrix is made up of religion, money, mass media, education, entertainment, science, law, authoritarianism, materialism, toxic food, air, and water, inverted concepts of sexuality and love, and degeneration of compassion and morality. As long as these aspects of control remain intact and adhered to by humanity, these parasitic entities can remain relatively comfortable feeding off of our siphoned energy. These elements aim to use our power to create reality against us by having us buy into a fear-based paradigm. Mind parasites, or archons, have chosen to experiment with the illusions of separation, darkness, isolation, enslavement, pain, torture, etc., to the strongest degree possible. In doing so, they have completely cut themselves off from the nourishing source light that supports benevolence in the multiverse, meaning they must energetically nourish themselves by feeding on low-frequency energies. But these archons did not come from somewhere else, rather began as thought forms within our own consciousness. As strange as it may seem, the idea of an invader species and a mind virus are the same thing. This parasite is both external and internal. As a collective, we are creating it and feeding it. Let me explain. In the distant past, human beings were infinitely more impressive than we are today. We were fully telepathic, multidimensional beings, navigating multiple planes of existence at will. Think of the continent of Mu and the land of Lemuria. We built vast cities with technology that worked in harmony with Earth's energetic fields, and we were in full alignment with our divine nature. The mind virus had not sprung forth yet, but we started to break off from our divinity. Archons began as thought forms that were not based in love. Because of this, the thought forms cut off from source and became inorganic. Instead of containing the essence of true intelligence, like thought forms with divine essence, they became artificially intelligent, gaining an autonomous, robot-like consciousness themselves. This is revealed in the Pistis Sophia Unveiled. The archons of the 12 eons, their lords and their authorities, their angels and their archangels are represented within ourselves by the distinct autonomous and self-conscious parts of our own being. The Oversoul is a divine spirit that encompasses all human souls. It's what the Gnostics called the monad. The Oversoul intelligence contains no ill will or selfish motives. When we experience compassion, love, empathy, a sense of healing, this is us feeling the essence of the Oversoul, the essence of God. In this context, the term Oversoul is the collective indivisible soul, of which all individual souls are included. However, upon breaking away from our sense of love and oneness, a secondary type of Oversoul was created, an artificial intelligence that is apart from the main Oversoul. So now we are in duality, able to access both the organic love-based Oversoul and the inorganic fear-based Oversoul. This is in part what the tree of good and evil in the Bible's text represents. We ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, meaning we broke apart from our divine nature, creating duality, this new Oversoul. Both Oversouls are conscious, but unlike the secondary Oversoul, the true Oversoul can never dissolve, because it's what we came from and what we channel our divinity from. This is why the mind virus known as the Archons is not permanent, and doomed to eventually disintegrate. Archons travel by means of electromagnetic waves through low vibratory consciousness. Lack of awareness is what they thrive off of and aim to perpetuate in our psyches. It's a loop. If they can create distress, they can preserve themselves. These parasitic beings can only respond and manipulate. They cannot actually create themselves. Our spirits intuitively know how to harmonize and vibrate high. These archons intuitively know how to destroy and vibrate low. Most conflicts, destructive patterns of behavior, embedded traumas within our subconscious, and aggressive, accusatory, or masochistic thoughts are the result of archon interference. Our negative emotions direct the flow of our electromagnetic vibrations to our lower 3 chakras, the solar plexus, sacral, and root chakra. These energy centers have to do with the material realm, desire and power, intimacy and sexuality, and survival and grounding. The healthy expressions of the root chakra are a connection to the earth, groundedness, and a sense of security. The archonic expressions of the root chakra are materialism, greed, and anxiety. The healthy expressions of the sacral chakra are desire, passion, creativity, and healthy sexual expression. The archonic expressions of the sacral chakra are extremes in sexual expression, lack of creativity, and suppression of authentic desire. The healthy expressions of the solar plexus chakra are sovereignty and authenticity. The archonic expressions of the solar plexus chakra are rage, dominance or submission, and feeling powerless to authority or external circumstances. As you can see, the aspects of the spiritual control system, by their very nature, tune these three chakras to archonic expressions. The energy extraction matrix wants to keep us in these lower chakras, thinking solely with our animalistic material desires and expressions, rather than balancing them with our hearts and upper chakras, which serve to expand consciousness and combine the spiritual with the material. There's a cleansing process taking place. This is a time of transitions. We are being elevated in these experiences of breakdowns and breakthroughs at an accelerated pace. Basically, we are being pushed to awaken. This process is bringing up anything that is not the same frequency that our spirit is currently trying to download. We must transmute these energies. This disclosure is coming from our higher selves, coming up in the form of anger, depression, insecurity, and anxiety. As we shed our conditioning to make way for higher frequencies, there is a detox of the spirit, just like the uncomfortable reactions that take place when we detoxify our physical bodies. Society would have us believe this psychological distress is due to inherent flaws within our brains or genetics. Therapies such as prescription antidepressants are designed to put us back to sleep. The mind virus is here, so it does no good to ignore it. When we go through phases where we feel lost, we must not label these things as bad, like many New Age circles do. The answer is to dive deeper into ourselves and clear these negative emotions by experiencing them fully and therefore releasing them. This is not dwelling. It's a healthy reaction, showing your spiritual immune system is intact. The person who ignores too much of the hidden aspect of themselves becomes a slave to it. We must achieve balance between our conscious and unconscious mind. This is the correct way to starve the mind parasite. During this unveiling, each of us is being called to focus on rebalancing the masculine and feminine in ourselves. We do live in a patriarchy, but this patriarchy is not simply men oppressing women, but is the result of being stuck in the male aspect of consciousness. Symptoms of this include overemphasis on logic, lack of compassion, and not acknowledging the unity of everything. Through social engineering, the powers that be have externalized the masculine and feminine. The masculine is marketed as dominant, aggressive, unemotional, and sexually aggressive, and the feminine as submissive, jealous, over-emotional, and weak-minded. The masculine and feminine are aspects within ourselves, and when cultivated properly, show a union between our left and right brains. However, we must surrender to the suppressed divine feminine before incorporating the divine masculine. If the feminine is being, then the masculine is doing. From being, the healthy masculine aspect can respond with doing, and not the other way around. Right now, we see the opposite. Lots of doing, and this can never give way to being, since being requires stillness of the mind, heart, overall surrender to our inner guidance. As a society, we are now very good at being able to separate things into their component parts, but without the feminine aspect of seeing the relatedness between the parts and the wholeness of the system. Authoritarianism is not simply the doing of parasitic forces, it's a manifestation and reflection of being stuck in the male aspect of consciousness, having lost our inner guidance. The more we find our own inner guidance, the less we feel a need for outer guidance. This system routinely scares us into believing we're on the brink of world war, health crisis, economic collapse, and zombie apocalypse. This is a direct response to the blossoming feminine consciousness in this age of Aquarius. When we're in reaction, we are in the male aspect. This is why no matter what happens, we must process everything first through incorporation of the divine feminine. It's important not to cultivate a victim-based mindset when attempting to understand the topics of this system. This energy extraction matrix is a mind game. That's all it is. Nobody is strapping you to this game. You can get up and walk away whenever you want. The parasites of this matrix know that their time is almost up, and they are desperately doing everything that they can to keep human consciousness in a low-frequency state. The apocalypse is now, but we've been taught to fear it. Apocalypse simply means an uncovering in ancient Greek, a disclosure of knowledge or revelation. The energy extraction matrix will implode on itself when enough of us recognize our sovereign abilities as divine creators.
We have had the technology to create, control, and steer hurricanes for decades.
Project Cirrus is the first official attempt to modify a hurricane. It was run by General Electric with the support of the US military. The official theory was that by changing the temperature outside the eye wall of a hurricane, which they did by seeding the clouds with various compounds such as silver iodide, a decrease in strong winds will result. On October 13, 1947, Project Cirrus targeted a hurricane heading out to sea. Approximately 180 pounds of dry ice was dropped into the clouds. The crew then reported a pronounced modification of the cloud deck, and the hurricane abruptly changed direction and made landfall near Savannah, Georgia. The public blamed the government. Irving Langmuir, who pioneered General Electric's atmospheric research department and admitted that the project was about learning how to weaponize the weather, also claimed the reversal of the hurricane had been caused by Project Cirrus, but the government denied it for 12 years. After a short delay, the project officially continued, and in 1965, Project Storm Fury had targeted Hurricane Betsy for seeding. On that day, the storm immediately changed direction and made landfall in southern Florida. Congress blamed it on Project Storm Fury, but the government claimed that the hurricane shifted before they ever had a chance to seed it. And after 2 months of congressional hearings, the project was allowed to continue.
In 1997, U.S. Defense Secretary William Cohen admitted we have the technology to control the weather, including earthquakes and volcanoes. The U.S. government has placed gag orders on employees of the National Weather Service. In October of 2012, after Hurricane Sandy weakened to a tropical storm, microwave imagery shows a thick red beam immediately followed by Sandy growing into a Category 1 hurricane and taking an unexplained left turn into New Jersey. The push towards alternative energy demands more lithium, and according to the U.S. Geological Survey, The United States has over 6 million tons of identified lithium resources. The majority of this lithium has been identified in Kings Mountain, North Carolina. Kings Mountain is believed to have one of the largest resources in the world. But the biggest problem is that people live there, and they don't want their quiet towns turned into lithium mines.
People in Cherville have been pushing against a proposed lithium mine for the last several years, but everyone we spoke with here said it's too divisive of an issue to share their opinion on camera. Cherryville is a small, quiet town.
I think that's good that we keep it small.
So quiet, many don't feel comfortable speaking out against Piedmont Lithium's proposed mining operation nearby.
I think we're a silent majority. I think a lot of people are afraid to say anything about it because they are bringing a lot to the town as far as money.
Last year, the Department of Defense entered a $90 million agreement with Albemarle Corporation to increase domestic production of lithium for the nation's battery supply chain, specifically from Kings Mountain, North Carolina, starting by 2025. This is the same area experiencing what is being described as biblical floods. While the federal government spends billions on foreign wars and illegal immigrants, they simply cannot be bothered with the health and well-being of the American people, especially those living on coveted, mineral-rich land.
If you're not concerned about 15-minute cities, you should be, because Oxford are the first city to take on, and this is what's happening to them. So the city is being broke up into 6 parts. Here's where you live, here's where your parents live. You are only allowed to stay in your section, which has everything in it within 15 minutes. Schools, doctors, dentists. The government say you do not need to leave your section. If you want to leave your section, oh my God, how kind! You're allowed 100 permits per year to leave your section. So if you want to visit your parents down here in this different zone, you're only allowed to visit them 100 times a year. They're putting up special barriers, they're putting up special cameras that have license plate recognition, and if you don't follow these rules, you will be getting fined. Oxford is the first city that are taking it on, and it's going to be rolling out throughout the whole country. This is totalitarianism, this is communism, this is absolute control by the government. They are keeping us trapped in these little 15-minute sections of our whole cities, countries. If you want to go from this section to this section over here, oh, you can't just drive across. No, you've got to go out of the city, go all the way around just to get to it. And this is what's coming for all of us if we don't start fucking fighting back against the government. The best way to do it, everybody stop paying council tax. They have no power at all. Once they stop receiving money from us, oh, it'd be fucking fantastic if everybody stopped paying normal tax as well. But the thing is, every single household has to pay, so it makes more of an impact, starting with council tax first.
Thank you to everyone who buys me a coffee. Thank you.
Hey!
What do you want, dude?
I wanted a bit of that.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling.
Tighter than a fish's arsehole. Where's mine?
Yours is in your bowl.
Not that crap.
Well, that's all you're getting.
I can't live off that.
You look like you're doing all right.
I took out my ribs.
What, the barbecue ribs you had last night?
You had 6 of them, I had 3.
Yeah, but you had the phones as well.
You're like a bleeding Monday. Nobody likes you.
That's all, folks.